go big, little legs. Skinny kid.
What's up, YouTube? It's ZTAY, aka Lil Red. Today we got the highly anticipated rankings. My rankings for the 2024-25 season. We're starting off with the East. At number 15, we got the Chicago Bulls. Sadly, in my opinion, I think the Chicago Bulls will finish last in the East. And this hurts because, you know, I'm a Chicago fan at heart. I'm not a Bulls fan. The Lakers are the only Chicago team, or you know what I'm trying to say. But I just think they got rid of their two best players, in Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan. I still think the team is extremely talented. I think Josh Giddey could do better with being a point guard. Obviously, Kobe White looked really good last season. They still got Vucevic, maybe Zach LaVine. They got assets. Matas Bazelis looked pretty damn good in the Summer League, but I still got them finishing last. At number 14, we got the Brooklyn Nets. In my opinion, I think the Nets could actually come 15th. The only reason I got Chicago is just so they could get Cooper Flag. But the Nets got rid of Mikal Bridges. It looks like they're going to the rebuild direction. They didn't look good at all last season. They fired their coach last season. Cam Thomas just going to be, you know, getting his buckets. Cam Johnson might get traded. I just believe they're going to be definitely the bottom of the East. At number 13, I got the Washington Wizards. This one's tough because I actually had the Wizards at 12, but I've been really rethinking everything. I don't want to panic about Alexander Sard. You know, a lot of people probably panicking about him because he didn't have a good summer league. I don't think that really matters. I think they got a lot better because they got Malcolm Brogdon as their point guard now, along with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. They did lose Denny Advia, but they picked up some solid rookies, and you know, like Bub Carrington. I think that they could shock people, but I still got them coming 13th. At 12, I got the Pistons. Now, I honestly think the Pistons could be a lot higher because they addressed a lot of issues that they were missing last season. For example, shooting. You know, you got to have shooting around Cade. And I think Cade and Jalen Duren is already a good duo. They added Malik Beasley. They added Tim Hardaway Jr. They still got Simone Fontecchio. And most importantly, they got Tobias Harris. So I think that's going to help them out a lot. Is it enough to make the play-in tournament? I don't think so. But yeah, I got Detroit at number 12. I feel like this is where people are going to start being like, you know, questioning my list. But at number 11, I have the Toronto Raptors. The reason I'm putting them at number 11 is because they still have Scotty Barnes. And they got RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and I'm expecting a big leap from Grady. They still got a solid, decent center in Jakob Poeltl. I think they'll be decent, good enough to be not at the bottom, but they're not making the play-in. And the last team I got making the play-in tournament in the East is the Charlotte Hornets. That's where people are going to be like, what are you talking about? But that is only because LaMelo Ball will be back, hopefully healthy. And him, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, come on now. That team's nice. I don't care what anybody says. And then hopefully Mark Williams can stay healthy this year. They got some interesting draft picks coming in. I think Nick Smith Jr. is going to have a better year too. And I honestly think LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Miles Bridges alone is going to be enough to make the play-in tournament. I don't know. What do you guys think? The bottom of the East, is it right or wrong? Who you guys got making the last play-in spot? Because at number 9, I have the Atlanta Hawks. Now, in my opinion, I think the Hawks could actually move up. Yes, they lost DeJounte Murray, but I think Zachary Rissecher is a great draft pick for them. And they still have Jalen Johnson. They still have Bogdan Bogdanovic. And more importantly, they still have Trae Young. And they get Tyson Daniels. I think that's going to be a better fit than DeJounte Murray. I still don't think they're going to be good enough to be, you know, part of the upper tier in the East. But I think as long as Trae Young is still on this team, they are going to be good, especially with the young talent that they still have on their roster. I have them at number 9. At number 8, I have the Miami Heat. I think the Heat could actually come higher than 8th, but, you know, I never trust them regular season. I think they got a lot of talent on this team. You know, Jaime Hawkins Jr. is going to be great year 2. I think they drafted a really solid center in Khalil Ware. They still have Bam and Jimmy. We've seen them go to the damn NBA Finals. Tyler Hero is healthy. They still got Duncan Robinson. And now they also have Terry Rozier in year 2 with the team. So I think the Heat are going to be a lot better than people think. Obviously, everybody forgets about the Heat, but they're still not going to be at the very top just because they don't take the regular season serious. At number 7, I got the Cavs, and this was very hard for me to rank because they could be higher just based on the talent alone on the team. Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. They still have Max Strus, but my issue with the Cavs is they can't seem to stay healthy. And Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell barely even played together last year. And on top of that, I think there are some teams that you guys will see in a second that I think might be better than the Cavs. So we'll get into that real quick. One of those teams being the Orlando Magic. I got the Magic at 6, being safe from the in-season tournament. And this is because they're a young team. They're only getting better. They got their first playoff experience. You could only get better from that. And on top of that, you add Caldwell Pope. They retain the same exact team. They did look like they're going to lose Markelle Fultz, but I don't think that matters too much because of Anthony Black. But yeah, I think the Magic are coming together. They're a young team, and they got very good, year 2 players in Anthony Black, maybe, hopefully, Jet Howard. But I think adding KCP to a young team is just going to make them even better. I got them going ahead of the Cleveland Cavaliers this year, despite the loss in the playoffs to them in the prior year. Number 5, I got the Indiana Pacers. They looked pretty damn good in the playoffs last season, and I didn't even think they were going to be good. They're the definition of modern basketball. They play fast, and they got one of the best young guards in the league in Tyrese Halliburton. They still got the same exact team from last year, and I think they added a sleeper in the draft in Johnny Furphy. But again, this is year 2 with Pascal Siakam. Just like some of these other teams, I think year 2 is going to be better for some of these teams that made a move in the offseason last year. Unless injuries happen. But, that could be said for any team. I have the Pacers top 5 of the Eastern Conference. They battled in the Eastern Conference Finals. You kind of have to put them in top 5. I don't think... it would it be a failure for the Pacers if they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals again? Probably not, because nobody expected them to be there, but I bet they believe in themselves. They also have a healthy Ben Mathurin coming back, and they were missing that last season. I got the Pacers at 5. At 4, you can't forget about this team, Giannis and Dame. Same team. I know we hyped them up a lot last year, and they didn't meet their expectations. And honestly, I don't even think they were bad last year. It's just the expectations were so damn high for Dame and Giannis that they didn't reach them. They also added the curse in Darvin Ham, so I don't believe that they will come top 3 because of that. But I do got the Bucks at number 4. Number 3, controversial. We got 76ers. A lot of people got Philly at number 1 or 2. But in my opinion, year 1 with a new superstar is never easy. We have seen in the NBA today that usually 3 stars together don't really click. It don't really work. That being said, I still think they have enough talent to be top 3 because I think Tyrese Maxey is one of the best players in the league that nobody talks about. You still got one of the best centers in the league in Joel Embiid if he can stay healthy. They did lose Tobias Harris, but they retained a whole bunch of players like Kelly Oubre, and they added some pieces like Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon. I think this team is going to be really solid. They did lose Batum, and Buddy Hield, but in my opinion, they added enough pieces where they're not going to miss that. I think chemistry might be an issue for a little bit with Philly, but at the end, they'll get it together. They might not even come 3. I think the Bucks could actually come ahead of the Sixers. And I don't know, that's crazy because I know a lot of people see Paul George, they automatically assume best in the East. But in my opinion, this is why. You got teams like this. And yes, Celtics are not number 1. They are number 2. And that is because it is very hard to repeat what you did last season, 2 years in a row. It's very hard. I just don't believe the Celtics got it in them. I don't believe in them. I might be a hater. I'm a Lakers fan. I might be biased. But I truly believe the Villanova Knicks could be the number 1 seed in the East just because of their college chemistry together. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein. That hurt. But adding Mikal Bridges is huge for the Knicks. Not only because he has chemistry with DiVincenzo, Brunson, and Josh Hart, but I think that they lacked another scorer, and that is fixed now with Mikal Bridges. Yes, DiVincenzo kind of stepped up last year, but he's not supposed to be your number 2 option on offense. Now you got Mikal Bridges. That adds a whole different layer, and on top of that, they still found a way to get OG Anunoby. And that is why I have New York on top again. And when was the last time a New York team was the number 1 seed? I don't remember, man. But I got the Knicks number 1 in the East. Now it's time to move on to the West. I feel like this list is about to piss a lot of people off, so disclaimer, don't get mad, just leave it. I mean, you're allowed to get mad, if I disrespect your team a little bit. But I'm going to try to give my reasoning to why everybody. Nobody's going to get mad at saying the Blazers going to be last. I don't think they're going to be horrible because they added some pieces like Denny Advia, and it's year 2 for Scoot. They still got Shaden, DeAndre Ayton, maybe Simons, they still have Jeremy Grant. But in my opinion, Blazers is going to be last, or it's going to be the Utah Jazz. But I think the Jazz have a lot of young talent. They're probably hungry, you know. They might do decent. But I think these two teams, just because the West is so good, have to come last. Like, this is where people are going to get pissed off. I had to put teams down, bro. The Warriors coming 13th in the West. Sounds crazy, right? But I think losing Klay Thompson hurts them more than they know it. And I think that they're going to get their karma this year for... I'm just playing. But no, I really do think Klay Thompson leaving hurts the chemistry. You still have Steph and Curry, which is why you can never count them out. And I believe that they still can make the play. And I'm not saying that they're going to be stuck at 13. They still have some great year two players like Brandon Podziemski and Trace Jackson Davis. And then obviously you have Jonathan Kuminga. Also, they could also make that Lauri Markkanen trade. And if they do that, everything changes. They added Buddy Hield to replace Klay Thompson. They got Kyle Anderson, which I think is going to be good off the bench, along with DeAnthony Melton. But just because they lost Klay, I think is going to hurt the team a lot. Yes, Andrew Wiggins is just not the player that he once was. I don't know if he's going to go back to that. You have Jonathan Kuminga for your second scorer. But outside of Steph Curry, they lacked scoring last season. And I feel like Brandon Podziemski's more of a 1 than a 2, even though I believe in Pods and I think he's a really good player. It's going to be like, is he going to be that catch and shoot player that they need? That Klay Thompson was, because they already said he's replacing Klay in the starting lineup. It's not going to be Buddy Hield. But you know, Steve Kerr loves small ball, so maybe Buddy Hield will play 3 and Wiggins play 4 and Draymond play 5. And then Kuminga come off the bench again because he's dumb. No, there's no way they start Buddy Hield. So do they have enough shooting in their starting lineup? I don't even know, man. I really don't, man. I know Warriors fans gonna be pissed that I put them at 13, but I had to. And that is because I believe in this team. It's crazy. I believe in the Spurs. Number 1, Wemby alone is elite. Devin Vassell is going to be a future all-star in this league. Just remember that. But then they add Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. And those were the two things that the team was lacking. They lacked a point guard that knew how to run a pick and roll. Knew how to make the right reads and make timely passes. That's a big thing. Timely passes. They could pass. But were they passing at perfect timing like Chris Paul will? No. And then they add Harrison Barnes. That was the one thing they were lacking the most, was a wing player that could shoot the ball and get buckets on the offensive end. Harrison Barnes is that. And then now you have Stephon Castle on the bench who looks promising. Keldon Johnson's going to be on the bench. You still have Jeremy Sohan in the starting lineup. And then, of course, you have Popovich. In my opinion, I think the Spurs are going to be ahead of the Warriors this year. And they could actually even make a push for the play-in tournament. Same reason or same thought goes through when I was thinking about the Warriors. You know, they could be in the same situation. Don't get too crazy over these picks from 10 to 13 because they could all flip. All right, they're all close together. I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams flipped. Probably people are going to be mad at who I have above these guys. I have the Houston Rockets. A lot of people think I disrespect the Rockets. But I think that they have gone through enough to come out a little bit higher than they were. When I say go through enough pain. Because last season was their season to make the play-in tournament, and they choked. But I think a young team needs to know what it feels like to lose, and I think the Rockets learned how to lose. And they're going to use that as fuel to become better. They have a great head coach. They still have the vet in Van Fleet, even though I don't think he's that good of a player. Jalen Green, Şengün, got Cam Whitmore year 2. Reed Shepherd's looking really good. Dylan Brooks, of course. I think they're a solid team, but I still don't think that they're good enough to be contenders or even make the playoffs. But I think they could be a play-in team for sure. I know they lost a lot, but the last play-in spot goes to the Clippers, and here's why. Number 1, they have a new stadium. They got a new crowd. The energy's going to be crazy for the Clippers. But number 2, and more importantly, James Harden has never missed the playoffs in his career, and I don't expect him to do it now. A lot of people be like, they lost Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Yes, they lost a lot. They still have Kawhi Leonard if he's healthy, you know, if he's healthy. I just believe James Harden will never miss the playoffs, bro. I believe in him too much. And they surrounded him with some solid role players and shooters. He's had worse teams in Houston. Yes, he was in his prime in Houston, but I still see James Harden as that. I don't care what anybody says. James Harden and Kawhi Leonard will lead this team to the play-in tournament. Number 9, we got the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is back. That's all that needs to be said. They still got Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. They replaced Steven Adams with Zach Edey. GG Jackson year 2. And I think the reason they're going to be a lot better, besides that Ja's back, is because they went through a lot last season. Their role players were expected to be starters, and I think that's going to help them now when their bench needs to come in. And they still have Marcus Smart. This team, we've seen this roster be the number 2 seed when healthy in the West. I just think John Morant back. Yeah, they could be. I know people even have the Memphis Grizzlies higher than this, but I think this is perfect. They're going to be number 9. And then I got the Pelicans at number 8. Another playing team. I think they could even be better. They were missing one thing last year. That was a point guard, because the CJ at point guard experiment failed. I think CJ is a better off guard. We've seen that in his career. They still have Zion, who we've seen as dominant. They got Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. This team is really solid. Don't know what the hell's going to happen with Brandon Ingram, but I bet they're going to play with him at the 4, Zion at the 5. Because I'm sure they want Trey Murphy getting minutes. They still have Jose Alvarado. I think this team is solid. We've seen them make a run in the playoffs. They did lose Valanciunas. That is the big question for the Pelicans. Who the hell is going to play center? Yes, we got a rookie, Yves Misi. He looked decent enough, and then they signed another guy in summer league. Center's going to be lacking the whole season, but I think they have enough talent to be a playing team. Number 7, I have the Lakers. Now, I honestly think we could be a lot lower than this. You know, as a true, honest Lakers fan, we could definitely be lower than 7, like meaning 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12, 13. You never know. But what I'm seeing in the Olympics, LeBron and AD are still them. They're still really good. And then we still had the same damn team that got us to the conference finals. Do I think that's enough to win? Hell no. But I just believe a LeBron and AD team could contend. You know, just seeing how good they are in the Olympics. Yes, we have a new coach, JJ Redick. I believe in JJ Redick. We have Dalton Knecht, the great rookie. And then we have the savior in Bronny. I'm just kidding. You know, I don't have high hopes, though. If we don't come 7th, I ain't going to be surprised. Any of those teams I could just mention is going to be passing us up, because I don't believe we're that good. But at the same time, LeBron and AD going to make us 7th. All right, these are teams that avoided the play-in tournament. Going to be the best in the West. Suns, okay? The reason I'm putting the Suns year 2 with Durant, you know, Booker, Beal, it's going to be a lot better, right? They still have Grayson Allen and Nurkic, and then they added Mason Plumlee. They added a good, solid point guard. In Monte Morris, they drafted a good defender, I guess people are saying, but, you know, he can't really shoot. But I'm just kidding. I'm not going to hate. But, yeah, I think the addition of Monte Morris, the addition of Mason Plumlee, and the year 2 of being together is just going to be enough to avoid the play-in tournament. Unless there's a big injury to 2 of the superstars, I think that the Phoenix Suns will be a 6th seed. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with the Sacramento Kings being at 5, but I think the addition of DeMar DeRozan, yes, maybe people are going to say the fit and everything because they're all mid-range players. I think it's just, you add a good player like that, they'll figure it out, especially when I believe that they have a top 3 coach in the NBA, Mike Brown. I really thought the Kings were really solid last year. The only reason they didn't go further is because they dealt with injuries to Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox throughout the season. Of course, Kevin Huerter's always hurt, but he ain't really making a difference anyways. I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be good enough to be better than all the teams I mentioned. I think that they're going all out this year, which is why they got DeRozan. They better be good. If they are not top 5, I think it's a failure of a season for them. It was so hard for me to not put the Denver Nuggets in here, bro. I had to put them at 4 because they still have Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon. The loss of Caldwell Pope hurts, but I think Julian Strawther year 2 is going to be looking nice. Peyton Watson is going to be good. Still think that they got Dario Saric for the bench center. I still think that their bench center lacks, but Dario Saric helps out a lot. And then they're most likely going to get Russell Westbrook. Christian Brown is going to have a bigger role. But I just think the fact that they still have Jokic and Murray and Gordon and Porter Jr. is just good enough for them to be top 5. And maybe Russell Westbrook could make them even better. Who knows? We'll see. At number 3, the Dallas Mavericks. They add what they lacked, and that's shooting. Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall is huge too. But they did lose Josh Green in the process, which is basically what Najee Marshall is. I think Najee Marshall is a very underrated player. He's going to fit great with Luka and them. And then you add Klay to shoot. Is the Mavericks coming off of the conference finals? They lost. I mean, not the conference, the finals. They lost, but I think teams need that to get better. Sometimes it takes you to lose to get better. Yeah, we have seen the Heat not really improve after losing the finals. Teams like that. The Warriors as well. But this is different because Luka is in his prime. And they're only Derek Lively year 2. Come on, bro. The Mavericks going to be good. I got them top 3. At number 2, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I was going to put them number 1 because they've been losing long enough. Anthony Edwards is going to be amazing again. Cat, Gobert, Mike Conley. They added two really, really good rookies and Rob and Terrence. They did lose Kyle Anderson, but I think that this team is going to get better. Minnesota Timberwolves, I got number 2 in the West. At number 1, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder. First off, they were the number 1 seed last year, and then they got better. They added Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, two really good players. They retained everybody. They didn't lose a single person, and they still got Shea. This team is going to be great, like great. In the upcoming years, the next decade, the Thunder are going to be one of the best teams in the West. I think this is the team to beat next season. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, the Boston Celtics and the Knicks and the Timberwolves. But I honestly think the Thunder are going to be the best team in the league next year, and I can see them winning a championship. I think it's going to be tough for them. I still don't think they're ready for a championship because of their youth. But I think the teams that are going to win the championship next year are either going to be Minnesota, New York, Boston, Oklahoma City, or even Dallas. Maybe Philly, but I don't think Philly's. I think they just got a curse. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with the list. Which ones do you agree with? You know what? Come up with your own list down below in the comments, bro. I'm trying to see what you guys are thinking. Because I know a lot of people got a lot of stuff to say that I put the Warriors so low. But, hey, you got to put them somewhere. Let me know down below in the comments. Hit the like button. Remember to hit the like button. That helps the channel out a lot. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't already.